Good afternoon, I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Welcome to Camnet TV and Media News, the headlines. 2 LUSAKA men accused of abducting PAMELA CHISUPA and others appear in court. People backing Vedanta to regain control over KCM being sponsored charges Calabar. Details coming through after this commercial.
Hi ladies and gentlemen, I'm Cholwe from Cho's Fitness Gym. We're a fully functional gym located along Twin Palm Road in Kablonga, right by Cheshire Homes Society of Zambia. So we have various classes that happen from Monday to Friday. We have aerobics, we have boot camp, we have step aerobics, we have spinning, we have kettlebell classes. They happen from 18 to 19 hours every day, and we are open from 06 until 20 hours. That's Monday to Friday. Then Saturdays 6 to 12, and then Sundays we are closed, and most public holidays we are open 6 to 12.
Good news, the rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each, and ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours Monday to Friday at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill opposite Hilltop Hospital.
And now the media news in detail. As Zambia observes the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, some women have shared that they opted to file for divorce in order to free themselves from abusive marriages.
Zambia is observing the 16 days of activism against gender-based violence, which is an annual international campaign that kicks off on the 25th of November, the International Day for the Elimination of Violence Against Women, and runs until 10th December, Human Rights Day. The commemoration is used as an organizing strategy by individuals and organizations around the world to call for the prevention and elimination of violence against women and girls. Thursday, 1st December 2022, the non-governmental gender organization Coordinating Council, NGOCC, organized a community conversation in Bauleni compound on gender-based violence. Testimonies from GBV survivors were shared on how women had to endure abusive marriages to a point of near death until they opted out with the support from non-state actors who provide rehabilitation services and shelter.
My friend, and then you can complain about whatever you pass through. These people, this organization can help you. And then I went to YWCA, and then they are the ones who are helping me in terms of counseling together with the children, in terms of what I've been passing through. That's the reason why at the moment now I've just decided to divorce.
And then so when I came here in LUSAKA, that's how coming up and why the WCA. For me, I've been receiving counseling and help, and then what is an easier now to tonight go kuliko take up protection order, maintenance, occupation order. So akanjebe zindilila but also tinifuna ukushita divorce choka abachali chikwanzi.
During the same meeting, authentic tales of reformed perpetrators were shared.
So now we have Zambia National Benefit inanipia mwenyewe kutosa problems na kulifikisha kwa member mmoja. As I'm speaking now, na karatine na chairman wako ya Zambia National.
The 16 days of gender activism is being held under the theme Unite Activism to End Violence Against Women and Girls. We spoke to NGOCC Executive Director Annie Anamela, who pointed out the need to continue enhancing awareness creation on GBV and improve on the implementation of laws to curb the vice.
There's the stiffer punishment, but the stiffer punishment happens after the fact. So what we'd like to do is actually prevent GBV cases. And one of the things that we have noticed from on the lessons that we have learned, and even from research and literature out there, is that these issues to do with GBV and gender inequity and equality generally are about attitudes. They're about beliefs. They're about cultural norms. So what we would like to do, and one thing which NGOCC and its members are concentrating on, is looking at changing these. But it requires a certain type of programming, and that's what we're going on, especially, going into now, especially as we go into the new year. It's actually changing norms, beliefs, traditional customs, and practices that perpetuate these vices.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
2 Lusaka men accused of abducting 13 girls earlier this year have appeared before the Lusaka Magistrate Court. James Mulenga and Matthew Sikaonga have been slapped with 53 counts, among them human trafficking, rape, assault and aggravated robbery.
James Mulenga, the man accused of kidnapping 13 young women earlier this year and repeatedly raped and assaulted them in his apartment over multiple days, and subjected his victims to over 6 months hell before they were rescued by the police in October 2022, has appeared before the Lusaka's Magistrate Court Thursday with his co-accused Matthews Sikaonga. The 2 accused persons, aged only 22 years old, made their appearance before Magistrate Trevor Kasanda, where charges of the alleged offense they are said to have committed were read to them. The state have slapped Mulenga and Sikaonga with 53 charges, among them assault, rape, aggravated robbery and human trafficking. According to court records, the accused are alleged to have stolen various items from their victim, such as phones, money. Among one of the victims, in about mid-April this year, Pamela CHISUPA, aged 22, who was working at a mobile money booth in Lusaka's Central Business District, went missing while at work, in a case that left many people with every feeling: fear, shock, pain, worry. Since then, the public remained alarmed, especially that there were other reports with faint details indicating that other young people were being targeted for adoption. The police had instituted investigations into the adoption of Pamela, but May, June, July, August and September came and went without any intelligent investigative response in sight. But on the afternoon of the 3rd of October 2022, upon being alerted by members of the public, the police managed to allocate the 13 missing victims. They had been kept at one of the houses in Lusaka's Chalala area. Magistrate Kasanda has adjourned the case to the 12th of December 2022 for possible committal to the Lusaka High Court for their trial proceedings. The 2 accused persons remain in custody. Miriam Kaimba, reporting for Camnet TV News.
Citizens First Party President Harry Kalaba has alleged that the United Party for National Development UPND administration has no clear plan for Konkola copper mine on the copper belt.
The call by the clergy on the copper belt to have Konkola copper mines be given back to Vendata Resources Limited has shocked Citizens First Party President Harry Kalaba, who feels the interest of the people of Zambia is not being well represented.
But this is why we are saying Akan and Kantuka Power, they are the only ones, Vendata, that has shown interest to say they are willing and ready to come back, based on the new policies that they will be given.
Mr. Kalaba has reminded the United Party for National Development UPND administration that while in opposition, they lied to the Zambian people that they had plans for KCM and that they had found an investor who was willing to invest back into the mine when in fact not.
The UPND, when they were in opposition, they had clearly said that they already had a plan for KCM and that they had a more substantive investor apart from Vendetta. Where is that investor they were telling us before the elections? We all thought it was an issue they were going to deal with immediately they came. What we have seen has been back and forth. Clearly, there's been no plans on KCM, and now they want to go back to Vendetta, being sponsored by the people that should be speaking for the people in the mines.
The party president has since advised the government to come up with a robust plan for the mining sector and not dwell on the past by giving the mine back to investors who failed to live up to their promise.
What has changed? All of a sudden, because they're talking outside court, the government has found it prudent to begin now looking at Vendetta when they had told us that they had an investor. This is not good for the community in Chingola. This is not good for the country, for our country, Zambia, and it should never be tolerated. I think government must come up with a robust plan for our mining sector. Clearly, the years that they spent in opposition have never helped them or prepared them to run our mines.
Meanwhile, Patriotic Front Deputy Media Director Edwin Lifwekelo says the country does not need investors who failed to honor their contract and says what KCM needs are new investors.
They had removed and put a liquidator there. He's working round the clock to ensure that they raise voices, divisive voices, that will give momentum to their objective of ensuring that it's them that must come back to run KCM. Why is it that Vendetta all of a sudden has had the capacity, and why all of a sudden Vendetta becomes an institution which is a darling to the unions, which only yesterday unions were saying Vendetta must not come back and should not be allowed.
Now, the country awaits to hear from the authority over what decision it will be taking concerning the giant copper mine on the Copper Belt. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Christian Churches Monitoring Group, CCMG, is calling for enhanced transparency, independence and inclusivity in the appointment of commissioners, as well as the urgent constitutional reform to decrease the role of the president in the appointment process.
Our view that subjecting commissioners to a transparent recruitment process will not only enhance public confidence in the Electoral Commission of Zambia, but also immediately address any concerns from the public on the standing of appointed commissioners, such as those expressed with the recent appointment of Electoral Commission of Zambia commissioners. In Namibia, for instance, the commission consists of 5 commissioners appointed by the state president from a list of 8 names submitted by a selection committee is set up to select, interview, and recommend 8 persons for approval by the National Assembly, and the interviews with the section committee are broadcast on radio or TV. It is from this approved list of 8 persons that the president must appoint the 5 commissioners. South Africa has a similar practice whereby commissioners are appointed from a list of not less than 8 names submitted by a panel of experts.
That news item brings us to the end of Camnet TV Midday News. The headlines: 2 LUSAKA men accused of abducting PAMELA CHISUPA and others appear in court. People backing Vedanta to regain control over KCM being sponsored, charges Calabar. Thank you for watching. I am Precious Mzea Sakaleji. Good afternoon.